Okay, here we go again. Sorry about this. It's just every time the alarm rings, the phone goes out. Okay, so bottom line, anybody who has substance is going to want to raise the bar and know that the person that they're choosing to marry is someone who is going to keep their word, someone who is going to have integrity, someone who is going to, be that person that they say that they are. And if in fact, I got to adjust my shoe here, sorry. If in fact they are not able to comply with the agreements that they've agreed to, then conditions and consequences are going to follow. Okay? That's called life. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, there are going to be consequences. And again, I was asking Eric to be the man that he promised me that he was going to be. And when he started to not, act like the person that he promised that he was going to be, and his words and his actions were not matching up to his words, I'm going to say something. And I'm also going to act differently with my behavior, which I did. And, and the point is, I really want you to understand again, I have my image of who Eric was when we were teenagers at Peabody, okay? I have my experience of how amazing and the memories of how cool he was as a person, okay? And I have that as part of my history, and he had that as part of his history. And so there was that to begin with. And then I had my experience of him being so amazing to me and treating me like a queen and furnishing all these details when I asked and being this amazing person to me and to my family and to my friends, and everybody completely loved him and was like, he's the greatest guy, and everybody at his job is saying how amazing he is and that he's so talented and clients love him. And you see what I'm saying? Like, there was so much that he had spun around this whole posse of people that were just verifying that he had his shit together. But the reality was, it was all a deck of cards that was going to fail. But I didn't know that at the time because I didn't know that he was lying. Okay? He was a master at hiding everything. So, the bottom line is, when I set up these boundaries, okay, and he agreed to comply with these boundaries, and then he did not comply with the boundaries, we had another little talk. And I was like, look, the date for our wedding is approaching, and, these things need to be done. And, you agreed to do these things. And either you're going to do these things and we're going to proceed forward with our engagement and with our marriage, or if you don't want to comply with these things, I'm adjusting my shoe again, then, we're possibly not going to get married because, you're not in agreement to what you agreed to. And he would then break down and cry, okay, and have this whole big crying thing. And he would say, I don't understand, okay? And he's like, oh, my medical problems and my, you don't understand. And I'd be like, Eric, if you need medical attention, I am all about helping you to get whatever support that you need. And so then the whole thing would get sidetracked with his victim mentality, and that he needs to go to a therapist, and he needs to, he's got this sleep disorder. And the whole point that I'm trying to illustrate with this is that at any point when he was cornered to do the right thing and to either man up, shit, or get off the pot, okay, as my father would put it, he would have some other drama fest that he would create, and he would make it that he was a victim, and that he, I was being a jerk and an asshole because I wasn't comprehending that his narcolepsy was so difficult for him to bear, okay? And that I wasn't being kind because his medical condition. I want you to understand something. I drove him to all those doctor's appointments. I took him 2 times a day to an NA meeting. Okay? And when the doctors told me that his narcolepsy, his sleep disorder, that he shouldn't be driving, and meanwhile, all that time up to that, he was driving my car. He was not telling me that he had narcolepsy. He was not telling me that he shouldn't be driving and at any second he could fall asleep. But then as soon as the doctors reiterated it, then all of a sudden he doesn't ever want to drive anymore. Do you get what I'm saying? This is where I'm trying to show you that he's the big man driving my car whenever he wants to prove that he's a man. But then when his stories aren't lining up and he's being cornered, he's now going, it's my fault that I'm victimizing him. And I'm like, no. But he had all these doctors in on his bullshit. And they're verifying to me, he has narcolepsy and he has this thing and he has this wrong with him and his back is this and he needs this. And, do you get what I'm saying? He used every bit of it to spin another story and to buy him time. And then while he was buying time with that story, and I'm in this compassionate nurse mode going, oh my God, his back is so messed up. No wonder he's in pain all the time. Oh my God, he could fall asleep at any moment. Thank God he didn't fall asleep at the wheel. You get what I'm saying? He was playing on all of that. And he was a master manipulator at all of it. And then he'd get a dig in, and then he would be saying something nasty and triangulating about me to his daughters. And meanwhile, they're hating me. I've never even met them, and they hate me. Now, I had one more conversation with him. And again, remember, this is during COVID. There's all this uncertainty with COVID. Then he literally relapses and I catch him. He gets kicked out of the apartment. And during that period, again, I was very clear. And I'm like, look, Eric, I'm like, you did this to yourself. The reason that you're a homeless junkie right now is because you're a homeless junkie. Like, if you surrender to God and truly surrender, then God can protect you. But if you keep lying and adding more lies and manipulation, so now he's like, all right, I confess, I'm going to get into treatment. So then what does he do? He does this whole treatment thing. And he makes it appear like he's really in treatment. He makes it appear like he's really gung-ho and he really wants to make amends. And I mean, seriously, financially, he did some stupid shit. But then he would go back to work. He'd get the money. He'd give me his check and he'd be like, baby, I am so sorry for everything that I did to you. Here. And that's where I'm saying, like, his actions were making it so that he was appearing as though he really gave a shit and that he really wanted to make amends. And that's what I'm trying to explain, the confusion of the mastermind of a narcissist and someone who's in active addiction. Their bullshit is so